Hey there! Now we will cover some special safety tips for when you work with the various power tools in our shop. This information is very high level. Before you use any piece of equipment, make sure that your supervisor has certified you on the equipment and do not hesitate to ask questions if you are unsure at any time. Body position applies to use of all tools. You should extend your arms from the body. This creates a stable base and creates a safe zone between you and the tool. This shows improper position. Arms are too close to the body, and that brings rotating parts close to your body, increasing the chance of an accident. When working with die grinders, do not use with a wheel diameter larger than 2 unless the grinder has a positive action switch. This switch ensures it cannot be locked in the on position. Do not use if the grinding wheel is missing. Do not clamp in a vise to use as a bench grinder. PPE requirements: safety glasses, face shield, cut-resistant gloves, safety toe shoes. Safety glasses, gloves, and hearing protection is required. With air drills, route the air hose in such a way as to not be a trip hazard. Disconnect the air hose and recoil the hose after each use. Never leave the air hose connected to the drill if you are not using it. Do not overreach. Always keep proper footing. When using an orbital sander, you should wear eye and ear protection. Wear a dust mask to remove rust or paint. Recoil the air hose and clean up the buildup of dust off the floor upon completion of the task. With electric cutoff wheels, remember not to use a pistol grip grinder with a cutoff wheel. Always wear safety glasses, face shield, and gloves. Never position yourself or any part of your body in the same plane as the cutoff wheel. Be aware of the people around you and do not allow them to be in the plane of the cutoff wheel. When using a plasma cutter, inspect the power cord, ground cable, and the lead for cuts, shapes, or exposed wires prior to use. Clamp the ground wire to a location on the workpiece that is not going to separate from the workpiece. Always wear gloves, a face shield with a number 5 lens. Remove all the flammable material from the work area. Plasma cutters produce a lot of sparks that can travel several feet. When the cut is complete, turn off the plasma cutter and coil up the lead, ground wire, power cord to prevent a trip hazard. After the plasma cutter is secured, sweep up the slag on the floor to eliminate a slip hazard. For drill presses, always unplug the drill press before you begin a setup procedure. Adjust the spindle speed to match the recommended speed for the drill size being used. Ensure that the spindle guard is clean and adjusted. Always use a drill press vise or clamps to secure the workpiece. Always wear gloves and face shield. Upon completion of the task, clean up all the chips and cutting oil. Always unplug the belt sander before replacing the belt. Adjust the rest to within 1/8 of an inch to the belt. Do not overpower the belt too fast. Wear gloves, safety glasses, face shield, and dust mask. Keep your hands away from the nip point. The nip point is where the belt passes past the rest. Safety glasses, face shield, and steel-toed boots are required when using the milling machine. Rings and jewelry must not be worn. Long and loose hair must be contained. Close-fitting / protective clothing must be worn. Gloves must not be worn when using the milling machine. Use a cutter guard whenever possible. Stop the machine to take any measurements. Use proper feeds and depth of cuts to avoid shattering to tool. Ensure the workpiece is clamped down securely. Do not use the table as a workbench. Inspect the nail gun prior to use. The fastener guard must slide easily. Inspect the air hose retainer clip. Never reload the nail gun while it is plugged into a hose. Face shield and gloves and hearing protection are required. Never point the nail gun toward yourself or anyone else. If the nail gun fires without it being in contact with a surface, it must be taken out of service. Disconnect the air line before reloading. Always wear safety glasses and proper puncture level gloves. Inspect the circular saw's power cord for cuts, chafes, exposed wires, or missing ground prong. Inspect the casing for cracks, broken parts. Damaged circular saws shall be taken out or service. Inspect the guard. The guard should automatically and instantly return to the covering position. The trigger must stop power when released. If an extension cord is to be used, it must not be routed through a wet area and cannot be a trip hazard. Always wear safety glasses and proper cut level gloves. Always unplug saw when not in use. Do not attempt to touch the blade of the angle saw or remove your cut material until the blade has stopped moving completely. When handling materials and loading saw, always wear gloves. Follow all manufacturer's instructions and leave all guards in place. Only trained personnel are allowed to operate the horizontal band saw. Safety glasses, steel-toed boots, and cut-resistant gloves are required. Unplug the power before changing the blade. Do not allow the coolant to drip onto the floor by placing a bucket under the end of the material being cut. Inspect the horizontal band and take it out of service if any of the guards are damaged or missing. Always wear gloves to protect against cuts and lacerations when using the tube bending machine. Keep body parts clear of the machine while in motion. Caught and slash between hazard. Keep all factory installed guards in place. Test and inspect, including emergency shut-off, prior to each use. Obey all warning labels. Only trained personnel are allowed to operate the metal shear. Safety glasses, steel-toed boots, and cut-resistant gloves are required. Shut off the metal shear while not in use. Do not allow metal drops to accumulate behind the metal shear. Keep your hands outside of the guard in front of the blade. Only trained personnel can operate the brake press. Do not distract the operators. They must maintain constant communication with each other. Stay out of the area to avoid trip hazards, sharp edges, falling, and sheet metal from the jib crane. Steel-toed boots, cut-proof gloves, hearing protection, and safety glasses are required. The metal rollers should only be used by trained personnel. Typically, this will be a two-person operation. Be careful of pinch points and dropping the metal you are rolling.